Okay guys, making a song in Logic Pro X. These are videos I do from time to time, and they're for people who are beginners to Logic who want to record demos of their guitar-based songs. So in this one I'm going to show you how to use the drummer track to make the drums for your demo song. And we're going to do the song Slow Down. Okay, it's an old song, I don't know who wrote it, but the Beatles did it on their Long Tall Sally EP. The Jam did it on their album In the City. It's a fast 2.5 minute garagey, thrashy rock and roll song. Okay, and I'm going to show you, as I said, one way to use the drummer track to build the drums for your demo recording. So let's make the song. We start with an empty project. This drop down list appears. You're forced to create at least one track. We'll create a drummer track in the genre rock. Okay, the editor should open down here. You get 2 bits of drumming like that. Get rid of the second bit, select it, backspace. If you don't see the editor down here, just double click on this bit of drumming, this orange region, orangey yellow region. Right. Okay, I chose the genre rock when I made the drummer track, so I get the default rock drummer Kyle. This is Kyle playing a typical beat for him at a tempo of 120 beats per minute. Here, look, that's the default project tempo. Okay, now I can click on Kyle's face and reveal other drummers in the rock category. There's also alternative category drummers, songwriter, etc. And if I, for example, choose Jesse, now this is Jesse playing a typical beat for him. Okay, so just quickly go through and find a drummer that's playing a groove that's got the right timing for the guitar riff for the song you're going to record. Okay, this is not your end drumming that you're going to have, just something to play along to that's got the right feel. And we're going to use this to set the tempo for the project. Right, so I'm going to do the song Slow Down, and I'm going to do it fast, like da 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 da. So the default tempo 120 is too slow. So I can drag the tempo slower if my song is slower, or push it faster, and you just keep tweaking the tempo and playing along until you get the tempo right. Now I'm going to push the tempo right up to 200 beats a minute, really fast like this, which is the right tempo for how I'm going to play this song. I'll sing the guitar riff. Da, 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 da. Well, let me go with Carl, who's doing a more straightforward beat. Da, 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 like that. Okay, so there's my tempo set. Okay, now what we do is close the editor, get rid of this bit of drumming, and we open the global tracks here. Okay, at the top you'll see the arrangement marker track. If you don't see it, then you bring up the shortcut menu for the global tracks area by right clicking anywhere in this empty space. Or like me, if you have the right click for your mouse assigned to bring up the toolbox, then you control left click anywhere in this area. So bring up the shortcut menu, and if the arrangement marker track is not at the top of this global tracks area, then the shortcut menu will say show arrangement at the top. Click it and you'll have that arrangement marker track. Okay, now when you click the plus on the arrangement marker track, it creates a default 8-bar long arrangement marker. They're always 8 bars, and there's a drop down list. You can title them intro, verse, chorus, bridge or outro. You can make these longer or shorter, but my advice is keep them at the default 8 bars in length. Most typical songs are built of sections of 8 bars, so keep them at that length. But by all means, if a section of your song is shorter than 8 bars, like for example this is my intro, if my intro is only 4 bars, then yes, I can drag this and make it 4 bars long. There's a 4-bar intro. Let's put it back to 8 bars, the default. But if this was a verse, and I think, well, my verse is 16 bars, don't drag it out to be 16 bars because you've got a 16-bar verse. The best thing to do is keep it at the default 8 bars long, make it a verse marker, create a second 8-bar marker and make that verse as well. Then you have 8 bars, 16 bars of verse. Alright, do it like that. Okay, so we're going to use these arrangement markers to build the structure of our song. Okay, you know your song, you wrote it, you know how it goes, so I'll start with 8 bars of intro, followed by 8 bars of verse. Then we're into the chorus, 8 bars, followed by another 8 bars of chorus. I've got 8 bars, 16 bars of chorus. Just zoom out. Okay, after the 16 bar chorus, I'm back into the verse, so new marker, verse, then back into the chorus again. 8 bars of chorus, another 8 bars of chorus. Okay, then after this second 16 bar chorus, we're into the 24 bars of guitar solo. Now these markers that we're putting in here, the way we title them, intro, verse, chorus, etc., this is telling the drummer what to play at that point in the song, what kind of drumming to play. So following this 16 bar chorus, I'm going to have 24 bars of solo, and I'm make my first 8 bar marker for the solo section, and I can choose whether in this solo section the drummer will play verse drumming, chorus drumming, bridge drumming, or even outro drumming. Verse drumming is generally with a hi-hat. Chorus drumming is usually busier than the verse, and the drummer switches to the ride. Bridge drumming is different to the verse or chorus pattern. And outro drumming is usually similar to the chorus but busier or with some variation. So for the solo section, I'm going to have the drummer play verse drums. So I'll make that verse, then another 8 bars of verse drumming, then another 8 bars of verse drumming, and that's 8, 16, 24 bars of verse drumming. That's going to be my solo section. To select multiple arrangement markers, just select one, hold down shift, click on the others. Now this 24 bars of verse drumming, which is going to be my guitar solo section, with them highlighted, I'll do Alt C, bring up the colour box, colour them orange. So although they say verse, we know this is going to be the guitar solo there. Okay, and then we're back into the last verse. So new 8 bar marker, verse, and then the final chorus, 8 bars of chorus, followed by another 8 bars of chorus, and there's my final chorus, 16 bars. Now after this, there's 16 bars of outro, and the singer sings slow down repeatedly, and it fades out. So I'll make the next 8 bar marker. Now this can also be chorus drumming for the outro, or I could switch it to outro drumming. I'll stick with chorus drumming, and then another 8 bars of chorus drumming, and there's my 16 bars of outro, which is going to be chorus drumming with the guitar holding down E and just fading out. Okay, right, but we can change these afterwards. Okay, but you build the basic structure of your song like that. Okay, I mean these last 2 bits here, I could make them outro instead, outro drumming for the 16 bars of outro. It's up to me, but I'm going to start by I'll make them chorus drumming. Okay, so there's the structure of my song. You know your song, you lay the structure out using the arrangement markers, and this must be correct. Okay, so you can put the metronome on, and you can sing along to the metronome and check it's correct. I'll show you how to do that. I kind of sing the riff and I sing the lyrics just to check that these sections are all right. So starting with 8 bars of intro. Come on, pretty baby, won't you walk with me? Come on, pretty baby, won't you talk with me? Come on, pretty baby, give me one more chance. Try saving our romance. Chorus, yeah. You're moving away too fast. You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving. Baby, what I love the best. Now we're into the second verse. This is the second verse. Try saving our romance. Chorus, and you just sing along like that and check it's correct. This has to be correct. Right, there's the structure of my song. And now the drummer track that we created here to just set the tempo, we select it, we delete it, and this drops down. We create a new drummer track. I'm going to choose the genre rock, create, and the entire drum track is built across the whole song following the arrangement markers. So under the intro marker, the drummer plays intro. Under the verse marker, the drummer plays verse. Under the chorus marker, the drummer plays chorus, etc. Okay. Now I chose the genre rock when I made the drum track, so I get the default rock drummer Kyle. So this is Kyle playing the intro. I'll take the metronome off now, right? He's playing the intro with toms. Then this is Kyle playing the verse. This is Kyle playing the chorus. Okay. I can now go through and audition the different drummers, and here you are focusing on the drumming that's being played, not the kit. The kit can be changed afterwards. So you go through the drummers and you find a drummer that's playing with the right style for your song. So I could try Max. I click Max. Now all the drumming is updated to Max, but this is still Max playing the intro. He also plays the intro with toms. This is Max playing a verse, which is a beat with a hi-hat. Then this is Max playing the chorus. He switches to the ride and plays busier, playing a crash ride, etc. Okay, that's Max. Okay, and there's all the other categories, genres to choose drummers from as well. So you go through and choose drummers. Now, if I choose a drummer like Logan, for example, now Logan is the drummer, and when you click the track, all the regions should be highlighted. If they don't highlight when you click the track, then just lasso them all like that. Now, some of the drummers you choose, like I've chosen Logan. This is now Logan playing the drums. If I look down here with all the regions selected, the swing control is up. So he's playing with swing. So this is him playing the verse and he's playing with a swing. So if you want to hear the drum without the swing, make sure all the regions are highlighted, turn the swing off. Now this is Logan playing without swing. This is Logan playing the intro. This is Logan playing the verse. This is Logan playing the chorus. Okay, so that's the drummer for me. Logan, but with swing turned off. And now I can do further tweaks to the drums, which I'll show you further on, but this is now the drummer is chosen. He's got the right groove for the timing, the rhythm of the song I'm playing, and that's my basic drummer set. Now, before I record the guitar, the first guitar track, there's one thing I want to do. If I click on the background, deselect the drumming regions, then select the intro drumming for Logan. Look at the editor down here. He's playing kick and snare pattern 3. Look, the ball there for the kick and snare pattern is set to 3. And the complexity ball here is right over on the left. So he's playing very simple. And it's quite far down vertically, so he's playing quite soft. Then if I switch to his main verse pattern, watch the editor change here. Boom. For the verse, he's playing kick and snare pattern 4, and he's playing 50% complex. The ball horizontally is at 50% in the middle, and 75% loudness vertically. So I don't want him playing the intro that much differently from the verse. So I choose the intro section. I switch him to play the same pattern as the verse for the kick and snare, pattern 4. I bring the complexity further towards 50%, not fully the same as the verse, but nearly at 50%. And bring the loudness up, not quite to 75%. So he's going to play the intro at the same kick and snare pattern, but a little less complex and a little less loud for the intro. Right? So this is now him playing the intro. And this is him playing the verse. And this is him playing the chorus. Okay, there's my drummer set. Right? Okay. We make a new track. Now if I'm recording acoustic guitar, I choose an audio track, receiving on my microphone input. Create. Then with the track selected, I go to the library. I choose an acoustic guitar preset such as natural strum. Okay. And then if I latch the input monitor button, I can hear the mic. I can hear myself playing my acoustic guitar on the mic as I record to the drums. Let's delete that track. But if I'm going to record electric guitar, make a track, guitar or bass track, receiving on my instrument and line input on my audio interface, which for me is input 2. I create the guitar or bass track. With it selected in the library, I can choose clean, crunch or distorted guitar preset. You don't have to be too fussy with these because you can change the sound of the guitar preset afterwards. When we record the guitar, we don't record the sound of the amp with the recording. We're just recording the raw guitar, and the amp can be changed to any other amp afterwards. All right. So I'm going to choose the crunch guitar preset, double driven. Close the library. There's my guitar track. With the input monitor on, I can get my electric guitar. This is a 72 Les Paul Deluxe in the middle pickup position. I plug my guitar into the guitar and line input on my audio interface, and I use the volume control on the input on the audio interface to set the level for the guitar so the input isn't too loud. Then this level control on the track determines how loud I hear it. This doesn't determine how loud it's recorded, just how loud I hear it. How loud it's recorded is determined by the volume control on the audio interface where you plug your guitar in, right? So there's my guitar. Okay, you want to tune your guitar. Now I advise using any other tuner than the one built into Logic because it's a bit fiddly, but for guitar tracks you can open the tuner here. Your input monitor button needs to be on, and you can tune. Using this tuner. But I'll say it's a little bit fiddly. Okay. Let's let the police go past, or whatever it is. Okay, so we're going to record the guitar. Input monitor's on. Lower the level a bit so it's not too loud. Bring the level of the drums up so you can really hear the drums. Your headphones should be a decent level. Drums up nice and loud so you can hear the timing of the drums. Balance the guitar with them. Like that. Yeah, get the drum level up nice and high. Balance the guitar level so that you can really hear the timing of the drums. If you need more volume on the headphones, bring the master volume level up here. This is the master volume for the song. I'm ready to record the guitar. Okay, now I'm not a guitarist. I don't practice often, but I'm going to have a go at putting down a guitar. Now you can record the guitar all the way through the song to the end, or you can record the intro, the verse and the chorus and then copy those guitar bits over to the rest of the song. If you do it that way, just recording the basic, intro, verse, chorus, then copying the verse and chorus guitar to the other verses and choruses, it saves disk space, and it's fine to do that for demos. But you can play the guitar all the way across if you want. So play it to the beginning, input monitor on, record menu, count in. I'm going to set it to 2 bars, and I'll try and get this guitar down. Here we go. Right, and I've recorded verse, intro and chorus. Now there's a little bit of overspill at the end of the recording where I hit stop, so we zoom in and we set our snap menu, tick snap regions to absolute value, like that. So it's ticked, and then I'm going to set it to a snap of beat, and then when I move the end of this overspill it snaps exactly to beat lines, and I can bring it in and snap it exactly to the end of the chorus section. There's the guitar. Okay. Now I'm going to double track that guitar. So I'm going to duplicate the track. Again, we can change the amps afterwards, don't worry, but I'm just going to quickly duplicate this track. Select the guitar track, duplicate track button there, boom, duplicate it. New guitar track with the same settings. Play it to the beginning. I'm now going to double track the guitar. The same guitar, but played again on a second track. Here we go. There's my double track guitar. Snap the overspill to the end of the chorus. Right, so there we go, 2 tracks of guitar. Okay, now I can Alt left click on the drum volume control here, set it to default 0 and lower the guitars down, balance them to the drums. There's my 2 guitar tracks, double track guitar. Okay, so now we can chop and copy these over to the other bits of the song. Okay, so I get the scissors, and here where the intro joins the verse, I chop the guitar there to chop off the intro. Then here where the verse joins the chorus, I chop again. So I've now divided my guitars into intro, verse, chorus. Right, now I get the verse, alt, copy it to the next verse. I get the chorus, alt, copy it to the next chorus. Now we come to the 24 bars of solo. Now the solo is the same playing as the verse and the chorus, but there isn't the bits where the guitars stop. In the verse and the chorus, the guitars do the stop where they drop out, right? Like here in the verse, drop out, and then here in the chorus they drop out. Drop out there, right? So we're going to have to record some of the guitar for the solo section, okay? But the start of the solo section, the first 8 bars, the guitars just hold down E. So for that bit, we can copy the intro guitaring, which just holds the E without any breaks, right? That's copied over. So there's the first 8 bars of the solo. Then we can copy the first half of the chorus guitar over for the second bit of this solo rhythm playing. Alt, copy the chorus over, and then drag it to half its length to just 8 bars. So that first 8 bars of the chorus it switches to A and then back to the E. So that works. There's no break in the guitar playing. Okay, but then the final bit of the rhythm playing for the solo section goes to the B. Now the chorus playing does that, but it's got that break in it. There, and I don't want the break in the guitar playing for the last bit of the solo. So I'm going to record just that 8 bars of the final bit of rhythm playing for the solo section. I'm going to record that as extra, right? So I bring the playhead to the beginning of that section. Exactly, snap it to that beginning of that last 8 bars of the solo verse drumming section, right? Go to the first guitar track, input monitor on. I hit record. The playhead, because I've got a 2 bar counting, the playhead will back up 2 bars. I'll get 2 bars of the music, and then this selected track will drop into record at that point. Here we go. So I'm going to drop in from the B. Okay, that's that one done, and then select the second guitar track, input monitor on, play it to the beginning of that last 8 bars of the solo section and double track. Here we go. Okay, that's that. So now the overspill at the end of the recordings there, I just snap those back to the end of that solo section, and there's my 24 bars of guitar solo, rhythm guitar to go behind the guitar solo section. Okay, then we're into the last verse. So I get the verse guitar from here, the regular verse guitar, bring it across, a copy, and then I'm into my final chorus, 16 bars there, so I get the chorus guitar from here, copy that over, and then we're into the last 16 bars where we do the fade out, and the guitar just holds down the E riff. So I take the guitar from this 8 bar section there, which is the E riff being held, copied from the intro section, copy it over, there's my E all the way through for that 8 bars, copy again, and there's E again. So there's my outro section. away and we're going to fade out over that. Right, there's the guitars. Okay, so let's get a bass down. Right, play it to the beginning. So, I'll make a new track. Now, if I'm recording a real bass, I choose guitar or bass, create the track, and it must be receiving on my instrument line level input on my audio interface that I plug my guitar and bass into, right? Create the track, choose a bass preset from the library, like we chose a guitar one for the guitar tracks. Plug in your bass, record a real bass. Again, you can record just the intro, verse, chorus, and then copy the bass over to the other bits, etc. But I'm going to use a software instrument bass. So I choose software instrument track, create. There's the track, selected, library, bass. I'm going to choose the Liverpool bass. You can try lots of different basses. These can be changed afterwards, just like the guitar amps can be changed afterwards. And we can change the kit as well. We'll come to that, right? So there's my bass instrument track. I'll pencil in an empty region on there, make it 2 bars long, and put a cycle range around it. Okay, now when we're making bass for a track, if it's a track like this track, it's a guitar riff going down, 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 you know, a riff. But it might be chords going ginger, 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 you know, whatever. So the first thing to do is you put in the notes that are correct for the chords where the chords change. And if it's a rhythmic thing, like I'm doing here, you want to put in the bass notes also to emphasize the rhythm, to work with the guitar riff and with the kick drum pattern. The rhythm of the drums should work with the rhythm of the guitar, and the bass needs to work and complement that. Okay, so bottom E on the guitar on a bass is that E there above C1. I'm going to do it an octave higher. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting 4 quarter beat notes in to do the first bit of the bass for the first bar, which is just a driving bomb, 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 bomb bass, just repeating that note over and over. And if I mute the guitars, you can hear that's working. Now there's a double kick here on that beat. I could have the bass do a little double 8th there to go with the kick, like that. So I'm going to do that, right? And then we come to the climb up bit in the second bar here, so I think that's the climb. Let's just check that. So there's my bass, and it goes with the guitar riff and it goes with the drums, right? Okay, so then I'll just copy this over. For the intro section, it's the same, E all the way, so I'll just copy that, copy that, copy that. There's the bass for the intro. Okay, oh, I created a marker track there. It's very easy to do that accidentally. Okay, so there's my bass, holding down E for the intro, then we're into the verse, so I copy this bit of bass to the verse, and it starts with E, then E again, then E again, and then E again. But there's the break, so it goes. And then we come to the break bit there. So this pattern here, I'm just going to take all those notes out, so we just get that one note doing the break with the guitars. Like that, a bit shorter. Yeah. Then we're into the chorus, so copy the bass from here, the first part of the verse, Alt, this is just the bass holding the E. Here it is in the editor, and this needs to go up to the A. A. Copy it over, A again. Copy it over. back down to E, and E again. Then for the second half of the chorus, the last 8 bars of the chorus, copy over. Now we're going to go to a B now, but I'm already an octave higher up from the bottom of the bass, so I could go up to a higher B like that, but I'm going to go down to a lower B because I'm already high up the octave on the bass, right? So it's going to go from the higher to the higher E down to the B. Copy that across, and then we're going to the A, so I'll come back up for the A. But that's where the break happens, so take all those notes out, just the single note for the guitar break. And then we're back, copy the first pattern for the chorus across. We're back to E, so bring this down to E. And E again. Right, so there's the chorus second half. Look. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Now we're into the next verse. So I just get the verse space from here, Alt, copy across. Then we're into the next chorus. So I get the chorus space, just copy across. Then we're into the solo section where the verse strumming happens there, look, over 24 bars. The first 8 bars of the solo section is holding down the E, so let's just zoom out a bit more. So I get the bass from the intro, which just holds the E. Alt, whoosh, copy it over to the first 8 bars of my solo section, then copy that block over to the next 8 bars, and then we correct the notes inside. So the first pattern for the next 8 bars of the solo, it goes up to the A, and for the next 2 bars, A again. Then for these 2, back down to E. Right, then I'll copy that pattern, Alt, across to the next and final part of the verse solo section, and it goes to the B, so this comes up, or rather down to the B, like that. Alt, copy it over, up to the A. And then Alt, copy over, and we're back to E. And E again, so just copy that over. Okay, and then we're into the verse and the last chorus. So we get the verse from here, the verse space, with copy that over for that verse. Then we're into the last chorus, so get the chorus bass from the previous chorus. Alt, copy it over. And then we're into the outro section, 16 bars holding down the E, so we get this, the 8 bars there from the intro, 8 bars for the first chorus, the verse solo section, which is holding the E, copied from the intro. Alt, copy that across. That's E held down all the way, and then copy again, E held down all the way. There's the bass. Okay, now obviously I would, if I was doing the song with more times to spare, I'd maybe put a little more detail into the bass. I might do some extra little licks in there and things like that, but that in essence is my bass. Okay, let's get a guide vocal down. So, make a new track. audio receiving on my mic input, create, audio track selected, library, voice. I'll choose the classic vocal preset, close the library. There's the track selected, here's its channel in the inspector column. Look down the effects on the channel, there's a tape delay plug-in there. I'm going to turn that off, I don't want echo. I'm going to turn the reverb down a little bit as well, there's a reverb send there. If I put the input monitor on the vocal track, I can hear the mic, I can hear myself sing as I put down the vocal. So, let's have the lyrics. There's the lyrics. I'm not a great singer, so I have to put on my fake American singer accent. Otherwise I'll sound like a farm boy from the Midlands. Right, so play it to the beginning, input monitor on. Make sure you got a decent level on your mic, not too loud. I've got the mic up louder than it should be because I'm using it to talk to you while I do this tutorial. So I'll have to move back from the mic a little bit. But I'll get the vocal down. Right, here we go. I'm not a great singer, but here we go. Input monitor on, play it to the beginning, hit record.
Well, come on, pretty baby, won't you walk with me? Come on, pretty baby, won't you talk with me? Come on, pretty baby, give me one more chance. Try saving our romance, slow down. Feel the set you're moving away so fast. You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving. Oh, if you want our love to last. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, baby, slow down, slow down, yeah, slow down.
There's the vocal. Not a great singer, but obviously you're going to get your singer, you'll have a good singer, or you can sing better yourself and you'll practice it. Right, snap the overspill of the recording to the end. There's a vocal, just balance it down a bit. Okay, right, there you go.
Well, come on, pretty baby, won't you walk with me? Come on, pretty baby, won't you talk with me?
Okay, now we need the guitar solo. So I'll select the guitar track, duplicate it. Remember, we can change the sound of these guitars afterwards anytime. So I've got a duplicate guitar track with the same settings, double driven. Playhead to the beginning of the solo section, snap it exactly to the beginning of the solo section. Input monitor on, and put down your guitar solo. Now I'm going to try and pull one out of the bag. Playhead, you snap the playhead to the beginning of any section. Hit record. I've got a 2-bar count in, so the playhead will back up 2 bars and it will drop into record exactly there where the playhead is before I hit record. Here, I'll bring the level of the guitar up a bit so I can hear it. Right, here we go.
Solo. Well, you know that.
Obviously you do solo better, but there's my solo.
Solo. Well, you know that.
Okay, there you go, that's it. And then we finished all the recording. You know, you put any more guitars down you want, etc. Any backing vocals, etc. Okay, that's the first bit, and then we can get into doing some tweaks and then a little mix, okay? So, first tweak with the drums. The drums have been put in for us automatically. We chose the drum that we liked from the editor. here, and it gives us the drumming all the way across, right? But now we can do things like, for example, in the solo section here, I set the markers to verse, so that when we created the drummer track, the drummer will put verse drumming in under those verse markers, so we get verse drumming behind the solo section. If I want to, I can try changing that now. I can select this first bit of drumming, delete it, change the marker to bridge, pencil in a new region, and we'll get Logan playing bridge drumming. But that penciled in region I've just done, it's going to have swing on because Logan plays swing, so with it selected after penciling it in, I turn the swing off. This is Logan playing bridge drumming for the solo section. Let's hear it.
Solo.
Well, if you want to go with that, then knock out the other two sections of verse drumming there for the solo, change the marker to bridge for both of those, and pencil in, turn off the swing if needs be, if it's a swing drummer, and you'll have bridge drumming over that section instead. Okay, well, I'm actually going to stick with verse drumming, so I'll knock that out, switch this back to verse, pencil in again, with the region selected, turn the swing off. I'll stick with the verse drumming there for the solo section. And then again in the outro here, if you've got an outro section with a fade out, I've chosen chorus markers for that 16 bars, which means the drummer plays chorus drumming over that 16 bars. I can try outro drumming here, so knock that out, switch the marker to outro, pencil in, and I get outro drumming, but with it selected, because this is a swing drummer, Logan's a swing drummer, with it selected, turn the swing off. Okay, now this is the outro drumming over the end bit.
Slow down. Slow down. Slow.
I'm going to go with that actually, so I'll knock the other chorus bit of drumming out, switch that marker to outro, pencil in, with it selected, turn the swing off. So I've got outro drumming now over my last 16 bars. So that's the first thing we can do. We can change any bits for different style of drumming by just changing the marker above, penciling in again, if needs to be, turning off the swing, and get a different style of drumming in different sections, right? Okay. Now the next thing, we can do little bits and bobs like this. If we go to the verse, zoom right in the verses and the choruses, the guitar cuts out. There's a break where the guitars stop and there's a gap, right? So, and it happens in the second half of the verse here.
Come on, pretty baby, give me one more chance. Try to...
Just there, I'll turn the vocal off. There's that stop. Stop. Now, we can put different drumming in that section, which would be nice. It'll add some emphasis, right? Just zoom that drummer track in. So I select that bit of drumming, and the bit where the guitars break is right there for the last two bars. So I chop this bit of verse drumming right there where the guitars break. Boom. Okay. Select that chopped bit of drumming. This is verse drumming, that's verse drumming, but we just chopped it in half to isolate this last two bars where the guitars break. And then with that bit of drumming selected down here, I'm going to switch the drummer to play toms, pattern 2, busier and louder. And he's going to play a thundering tom riff in that gap where the guitars break. Okay, and with that same little bit of drumming there selected, the fill control here, if I tweak it, it determines what fill happens at the end of that section. So I'll just tweak that fill, I'll get a little snare roll at the end of that tom lick. Actually, it's a little tom diddle-dum there. If I tweak the fill again, each time I get a different fill. Let's try that one. That's a bigger tom lick, let's tweak it again. There's a snare riff at the end, a snare fill at the end. Okay, I'll go with that fill at the end of my tom lick. Then the previous bit of verse drumming, leading into the tom lick bit we just chopped and changed, with that selected, if the fill control is up, there'll be a fill leading into the tom break that we just cut and changed. So if you want that fill into that bit you've chopped, then tweak the fill, get the fill that you want. If you don't want any fill at all, turn the fill off, and now there'll be no fill leading into the tom lick. Right, but I want a fill, so I'll select that and bring the fill up. So I get a little fill at the end, some sort of little fill. Let's see what that is. It's just a little bub up on the tom. Let's try it again. Just tweak this, I'll get a different fill. There's another one. Yeah, that little diddle into that, a little diddle on the tom, right? Okay, so there's that little thing, and it adds emphasis to that section. Okay, so now let's do the same in the chorus. In the chorus, second half, here, we get that same guitar break where the guitars just break. So we're going to put that same thundering tom roll in there, that tom lick thing, right? So the guitars break just there. So I chop the drumming for the chorus, this second half of the chorus drumming. I chop it just there. And then the guitars come back in there, so I chop it there to isolate that middle bit of the chorus drumming. Select it down here, switch it to toms, pattern 3. It's already up loud and complexed. So now the chorus drumming plays, then the break happens. This has been switched to a tom lick. It's got a roll at the end of it, a fill at the end of it, and then back into the regular chorus drumming. Again, if I want a different fill at the end of that bit we've chopped and made into a tom lick, I'll just tweak the fill control and try to get a snare fill at the end of it. There's a snare fill at the end of it now. Okay, like that, and then the previous bit has got a snare fill leading into the tom bit. I'll keep that, and there it is. Okay, so now we just copy that break we've done in the drumming over to the other verses and choruses. So there's that first bit of drumming, knock it out, take the verse drumming from here, main drumming followed by the tom lick for the break where the guitars happen, copy over to this verse. Same for the next chorus. There's the chorus drumming for the second chorus. Second bit of the chorus drumming, knock it out, take the chorus drumming from here. We've split the middle bit off to turn it into a tom lick. Copy over. Okay, that's done. And then the same for the last verse here. Knock that out. Take the verse drumming from here with the tom lick cut and converted in the last 2 bars. Copy over. And the same for the last chorus here, the second half, knock that out, take the chorus second half from here with the cut and modified tom lick in the middle, copy over, there we go, and we got that. So you can do things like that, and then other things you can do is, you can select any section like the end of the solo section here. Select the drumming for that, leading into the verse. Any section leading into another section, you select that region, tweak the fill control, and each time you tweak it, you get a different fill at the end. Okay, but bear in mind that as you push the fills up higher and higher, you'll get a bigger fill at the end. If I push this right up, I get a big fill at the end there, but I start getting a fill in the middle of the pattern. Now, so be careful because you want your fills down low so that you don't get a fill in the middle if you don't want a fill in the middle. But if you need a big fill at the end of a section, which means turning the fill control up, so you start getting a fill in the middle, then the way to get around that is turn the fills off, chop off the last bar. Now you've got, here's the verse drumming for the last 8 bars of the solo section. I've just chopped it into 2 bits, one 7 bars, and I've chopped off the last bar, making 8 bars. Both are set to verse drumming with no fill. Now I just select that bit, the final bar, and ram the fills right up, and I'm getting a big fill at the end there, but it doesn't affect the previous bit of drumming. Right? So I can put a nice big fill at the end like that. Now just push that each time you get a different fill. Okay, like that. That's another technique you can do. Chop off the last bar to isolate fills if you want a big fill, but you don't want a middle fill in the piece of drumming that you're putting the fill on. Okay, you can do it like that. Okay, so let's just do one more of those so you're clear what's going on. At the end of here's the intro section. Okay, it's got a little fill at the end, little diddle on the toms. Now if I select that piece, tweak the fill control, I get a different fill, but I'm getting a fill in the middle there, look. So you need to audition the middle fill if it appears and check it doesn't wreck it. I don't like that, so I'll drop the fill down until I don't get a fill in the middle. but now I don't get a very big fill at the end. So it's a compromise. You tweak and tweak. You might get a fill at the end you like, but I can't get a fill I like at the end without getting a fill in the middle and a crash at the start, which I don't want. So again, I'm going to chop off the last bar of the drumming for the intro. Just chop it off. The first bit of the drumming for the intro, turn the fills off, and just have the fill in the last bit there like that, and I can tweak that to my heart's content and get any fill I like. Like that. Okay, there you go. Right, so we put some extra fills in. We've chopped the bit where the guitar's break and converted that drumming to have a tom lick, a thundering tom lick in those breaks where the guitar drops out. And we've changed the last 16 bars of drumming to outro drumming to give us a different pattern there. There we are, all done. There's my drums. That's the basic stuff, right? Okay. So now, let's turn the editor off. So now we're ready to get a little mix together. Okay. So the first thing we can do is with the volume control here for the drums, Alt left click on it and set it to 0, so we balance everything against the drums at 0, their normal level. Okay. And we can now change the kit. Okay. We've got Logan, in my case, playing the drums, but with that track selected with Logan on it, if I bring up the library, we can see Logan plays the retro rock kit. That's the kit on the track with Logan as the drummer. But we can change the kit now, and it will not change the drumming that we've set. The drumming stays as it is. We're just changing the kit. So this is Logan playing the Portland kit.
Come on, pretty baby, won't you walk with me? Come on.
This is this is Logan playing the heavy kit. Right. This is Logan playing the East Bay kit. This is Logan playing the Detroit Garage kit. I like that one, it's got a scrappy kind of sound. So I've changed the kit. Okay. We've set the level control for the drums, Alt left click to set it to 0, and now we bring in the smart controls down below, and I can tweak the level of the kick, snare, etc. here. Okay. As I'm balancing my mix. So I'll start by balancing the guitars with the two rhythm guitar tracks with the drums, right? Now at this point you can change the guitar amps, of course. So this guitar here, select it, and I'm going to change it to a different preset called Old School Punk. Boom. So now this guitar is playing a different sound called Old School Punk. In the smart controls here I can give it more gain, mess with its tone, etc. So I'll change that guitar and then bring in the other one, which is I'll leave on the double driven, blend those together. Just pan one slightly left and one slightly right. Okay, then I'll bring in my bass. Now the bass, I can tweak its smart controls here, but with the track selected, I can change to a completely different bass preset, like thumb bass or prog rock bass or whatever. Also with the bass here, as well as tweaking the smart controls, if I look at its channel here, there's the bass amp. I could open the bass amp. I can go through different bass amps. you know, find a different one. I'll tweak this one a little bit. I'll go with this one, give it a little bit more gain. Take the 40 Hz down so it's not too bassy. Just drop that mid a smidge and a little bit more 100 Hz. Okay, so I've changed the bass amp, given it a bit of a tweak. Now I just balance that bass in with the guitars and drums. I'm using headphones, but you should always mix on speakers, right? Okay, and then go back to the drums. Let's a little bit more kick. More toms, so the toms are louder in the breaks. Let's hear that. A little bit less cymbals. Okay, you can do all that tweaking. The other thing we can do is, with the drum track selected, I can open the kit from its channel here. And if I want, I can try. We're not using a producer patch kit here with multiple outs where you get much more choice of snares, kicks, etc. But I could try a different snare, or I could dampen this snare a bit, tune it up. Same with the kick, I could try a different kick, dampen it, tune it, whatever. Same with the toms, etc, etc. Alright? Little extra tricks you can do there. So I'm just balancing the guitars, bass and drums. Now one thing you notice, another thing you might see is that with the drumming track selected, double click on that bit of chorus drumming to bring up the editor. In the chorus, look how high the ball is, right up loud up there, right? Choose the verse bit of drumming, the ball's much lower down in loudness. In the verse, the snare drum being hit at that level of loudness lower down here, the snare has got less of a crack. So I could bring the level of the snare up for the verses, just bring that up with the verse selected, bring it up a bit until I start to get the slightly more rim-shotty snare. There. There's only a tiny little push up on that ball to get the rim shot type snare. Same for this verse. Bring that ball up until I start getting the more rim shot, slightly louder snare like in the choruses. There. And the same for in the solo section there with the verse drumming. Bring that up till I get the slightly rim shotty louder snare. There it is, and finally for the last verse there, bring the loudness up with that region selected to just till I get that slightly louder snare. There it is, and the same for the intro. There we go, so I've got now I've brought the loudness level up for the verses, not the tom lick bit of the verse, but the main verse drumming, not the tom lick we cut off and changed to toms, where the break in the guitars is. But for the intro and the verses, and the verse drumming there for the solo, I've brought the loudness up just to the point where I start getting that rim shotty snare. So the chorus has got that rim shotty snare, but even louder. So that's the snare in the chorus. And in the verse, it's got the rim shotty sound now, it's less flabby. Okay, and now I can go to my smart controls and just lower that snare down a smidge. Oh. So I just balance the guitars, bass and drums now. Okay, let's get the vocal balanced. Bring in the vocal. You can tweak the vocal here in its smart controls if you like.
Well, pretty baby, won't you walk with me?
One thing I like to do with vocals in rock songs is I like to put a little bit of distortion plug-in on the channel. There's the vocal track, here's its channel. Now you're welcome to try the various Logic distortion plugins. You only want the tiniest amount of, well, it's overdrive you want more than distortion, but I like to use this free plugin called the Soft Tube Saturation Knob. It's completely free. Get it from their website. It just adds saturation, so I'll put a little bit of keep high, a little bit of saturation on the vocal, which brings it up in level, but then you can lower the vocal back down in the mix further and you can still hear the clarity of the words.
Come on, pretty baby, won't you talk with me? Come on, pretty baby, give me one more chance. Try saving our romance, slow down. Bill, I said you're moving away so fast.
A little bit of reverb on the vocal.
You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving. Oh, if you wanna.
You can adjust the reverb here. Look, I've got spring reverb on the plate for the vocal.
I love to last.
Only want a little bit.
Oh, if you wanna, I love to last.
Yeah, like that. So get my vocal balanced in, like that.
Well, I used to walk you home, baby, after school, carry your books home too. Now you got a boyfriend down the street, baby, what you...
A little bit of compression here on the vocal. Smart controls for the vocal track, right?
What you trying to do? You better slow down. Babe, moving away too fast. You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving. Wanna love to last.
So get your vocal blend in, and then finally get your guitar solo. Again, with that guitar solo track select, you can change it to any amp in the library. I'll stick with the double driven, just balance the guitar.
Well, you know that I love you, tell her what I do. Come on, pretty baby, why can't you be true? I need you, baby, oh so bad. The best little woman that I ever had. Slow down.
Okay, that'll do. There's a balance. Again, it's probably don't sound right because I'm not doing it on speakers, but you know, just get yourself a mix together. And then we last couple of things to do. We've got to do the fade out at the end. All right, so we go to the track menu, show output track. Now you can only do this when you have recorded everything you're going to record and you've done all them. You've set a decent mix balance, but more importantly, all the recording must be done. And it's a good idea to have, you know, just get yourself a little mix together with the things I've showed you there. So the mix should be sounding pretty balanced now. Now we go track, show output track. An output track is created. This is the track for the final master channel in Logic's mixer. So the entire song goes through this track and its channel. Okay, Alt left click on its level control. It needs to be at 0 dB, it's default. Bring in the smart controls. With that output track, choose volume, and you'll see that grey line going across, and this should be at 0 dB, and the line is at 0 dB. Then you go to the end of the song where you want the fade out to happen. I want my fade out to begin right there. So on that 0 dB volume line for the output track, put in a node, bump like that, where you want your fade out to begin. That node should also be at 0 dB. Then put your final node. That final node must be inside the music. It can't be outside the music. So just inside the music, lower it down to complete silence, and then you can put in some extra nodes to build your fade out shape like that. There's my fade out at the end.
Slow down, baby. Slow down. Slow down, yeah. Slow down.
Okay, that's the fade out done. So now we can turn off the track automation so it's not visible, but the fade out's still there. And then that's it, apart from one last thing. With the master track selected, go to the library and we can now put a mastering preset on it. Any of these added onto the master output. We'll put a load of effects and processors across the final output channel, which gives a gloss to your final stereo mix, because the whole stereo mix is going through this track in its channel. So I could choose, for example, deep punchy lows, and it will make my final mix, which passes through the track of the channel with all these new effects on, deep punchy low effects. It'll make my mix sound deep punchy lows. Or extended lows. Or heavy mix. Each time it's adding compression and EQ, etc. across the output to put an overall mastering gloss on your track. And that mastering gloss will have the effect that it says in the title, like heavy mix or extended lows or extended highs. I'm going to go with broadcast ready, which is it tightens everything up, gives it a bit of a gloss, but doesn't make it too bassy or too trebly. Now once you put that mastering preset on, you might need to go back with the smart controls and level controls and just tweak the drums, because putting that mastering preset on the final output might give the whole mix more bottom end, etc. So you might need, once you put that mastering preset on the final channel, final tweak to your mix.
Well, come on, pretty baby, won't you walk with me? Come on, pretty baby, won't you talk with me? Come on, pretty baby, give me one more chance. Try saving.
On the drums here, I'm going to switch on the compressor.
And our romance, slow down.
Look at the compressor for the drum track.
Bill, I said you're moving away so fast. You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving. Oh, if you want our love to last.
A little bit of compression on that drum track.
Well, I used to walk you home, baby, after school, carry your books home too. Now you got a boyfriend down the street. Baby, what you trying to do? You better slow down. Baby, moving away too fast.
And then have a little final tweak. Check the solo.
Solo.
Get a little tweak to your mix, that's it. And then we're ready to bounce off our master. Okay, so to do that, select the master track. Here's its channel in the inspector column. Down the bottom there's a bounce button. Make sure your metronome's off now when you do this, otherwise it will be included in the mix. Bounce. This pops up. You can bounce off a PCM master, AIF, WAV or CAF, or whatever bit rate you want, whatever sample rate you want. Or you can bounce off an MP3 version at whatever bit rate you want. Or you can bounce off both. Just set the settings for the PCM version and the MP3 version. OK, it takes you to the Finder, choose your disk location. OK, and it will bounce off a master file either in PCM or MP3 or both. And there's your master recording. And then you save your project, obviously, so you can open it again anytime and remix it. OK. And as far as the mix is concerned, take your time. Just do a few little tweaks. Don't focus too hard. Then step back from the speakers, make a cup of tea, listen to it casually, and you start listening casually. You kind of go, maybe the hi-hat's a little low, and you can go to the drums and just bring the hi-hat up or down a bit, or oh, the kick needs to go down or up. If you just don't focus too heavily and just take your time with the mix, just make little tweaks at a time, listen, make another little tweak, listen, make another little tweak, yeah? And there you go, that's how you do it.
Well, come on, pretty baby, won't you walk with me? Come on, pretty baby, won't you talk with me? Come on, pretty baby, give me one more chance. Try saving our romance, slow down. Bill, I said you're moving away so fast. You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving. Oh, if you want our love to last. Well, I used to walk you home, baby, after school, carry your books home too. Now you got a boyfriend down the street. Baby, what you trying to do? You better slow down. Baby, moving away too fast. You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving, if you want our love to last. Solo. Tell her what I do. Come on, pretty baby, why can't you be true? I need you, baby, oh so bad. The best little woman that I ever had. Slow down. Yeah, I said you're moving away too fast. You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving, oh, if you want our love to last. Slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, baby, slow down, slow down, yeah, slow down.
Like that. One last thing, for each track you select when you're doing your mix and your tweaks, like I've got the drummer track selected now, you've got the smart controls, but also with the guitar, right? But the second page in the smart controls is EQ. So with my drum track here, because that Detroit Garage kit is a little bit light because it's an old style manky kit, I'm just going to give it a little bit of bass boost, broad bass boost up the low end just of the kit, the whole kit.
Used to walk you home, baby, after school, carry your books home too.
There you go, just a little bump in the bottom end of the kit, just to give it that little extra bass end to the kit.
Now you got a boyfriend down the street, baby, what you trying to do? You better slow down. Baby, moving away too fast. You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving, if you want our love to last. Solo. Tell her what I do. Come on, pretty baby, why can't you be true? I need you, baby, oh so bad. The best little woman that I ever had. Slow down. Yeah, I said you're moving away too fast. You gotta give me a little love, give me a little loving, oh, if you want our love to last. Slow down. Slow down.
There you go, that'll do. As I say, I'm on headphones, so the mix might be a little bottom endy or whatever. You should always mix on speakers, but that's how you do it. That's how you get a song together. Now that took me about an hour explaining everything to you bit by bit. I could have knocked that out in half an hour. Yeah, and this is fine as a demo. It's fine. Okay? There's too much emphasis on the internet. The internet is to blame for this, particularly forums. They make beginners think that everything has to be ultra quality. That is fine as a demo. If you want to get some musicians together to play your songs live, that demo, give it to the musicians. They can hear the song, they can learn it at home. Then you go to the rehearsal studio, you have a couple of rehearsals just to make sure it's tight. You go and play your gig. Okay, it's fine for that. This is also, the quality of this is perfectly enough to show someone your song. You know, whether it's a friend or family or someone in the industry, you know, people in labels aren't stupid. They don't expect finished master quality product. If they're going to sign you up, they'll put you with an engineer and a producer and everything. You know, it's very, you know, you only need master quality when you're presenting a record company with a finished master. Okay, but again, this is fine for a record company or a management company or for other musicians to get a band together. Nothing wrong with that, and you could tweak the mix a little bit better and better and better as you go. You know what I mean? But that'll do. That's fine, right? And it didn't take long, did it? It's easy peasy, right? And I'll just show you one last little trick at the very end of the song. Very end. Okay. The final arrangement marker, it must be level with the music or outside the end of the music. But if it's inside the end of the music, if any music spills out after the end of the marker, then bring the marker out so it's further than the music, or it's at least exactly level with the last bit of music, right? And then we create one extra marker at the end. Okay, I'm going to shorten this to 1 bar in length, like that, just 1 bar in length. And I'm going to drop the list down and give it a custom name, count Dracula. Then we grab that little 1 bar count titled arrangement marker and we drag it to the front of the song. This is the last little trick you can do. Drag it right to the beginning, let go, and it pushes everything else up. So we now have this empty 1 bar bit at the beginning before our intro drumming comes in with the song. Okay, so on any instrument track, pencil in an empty 1 bar region. I'll do it on the bass track here. If you don't have any instrument tracks in your song, maybe it's just the drummer track and guitar and real bass tracks and real vocal tracks, then just create an empty instrument track, pencil in a 1 bar empty MIDI region on that, and then drag it up onto the drummer track under that 1 bar count. Now MIDI regions will trigger the kit on a drummer track the same as drummer regions, right? But in the drummer editor you don't get access to the drumsticks. But with the MIDI region on the drummer track, if we switch drum names on in the view menu, look at the top, there's the count in clave. So I can now make a little count in. Oop, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And select all those notes and make their velocity as loud as you want that count in on the sticks to be. Like that's loud. Or with the notes all selected, lower the velocity, and now we'll have a gentle count in. Okay, so it's up to you. I'll make them about 80 velocity. So now I've got a lovely little sticks counting, like the drummer's doing a counting at the beginning. There's a last little touch there. Like this.
Well, come on, pretty baby, won't you walk with me? Come on, pretty baby, won't you talk with me? Come on, pretty baby, give me one more chance. Try saving our romance, slow down. Feel the city moving away so fast.
Okay, there you go. I hope that's useful, and I will see you for the next tutorial in making a song in Logic Pro X, if that's what interests you. In the next tutorial about making songs in Logic Pro X, I'm going to show you another way to use the drummer track to build a song. This is one way where you let the drummer track build the drums across the whole song following the markers. I'm going to show you another way to use the drummer track, and in that tutorial we're going to do the song Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. Okay, so I'll see you for that next video for making a song in Logic, or any other videos I make on any other subjects if you're interested. See you soon.